one bit of feedback for everybody is sound. We haven't talked about this at all. Sound has got to be one of the most crucial things, if not more important than the picture, funnily enough. You absolutely have to get good quality sound. If you're in a noisy space, move. If you're just using a top mic on the camera, you need to be no more than a couple of feet from the subject. It is so important. It will kill your film otherwise. And there was a few films that we didn't pick up on it, but some of the sound editing in it was really, really bad. And that's something that you can even fix in the edit. And you should really be wary of it, because that's something that will make your film immediately feel amateur, which is easily avoidable, especially once you get to the edit if you do a mix, a basic sound mix. So that's just something to really, and I learned that the hard way as well. Everyone learns that the hard way, I think.
Totally. They always say you can replace a dodgy visual, but you can't clean up audio. If there's loads of background noise, it's very hard to clean it. If it's peaking, if it's too loud, it's very, very hard to kind of not make it distort. And these days, there's these amazing recorders available for 200 quid. You know, Zoom, I can talk to you about them if anyone's interested in buying them, but they're like, it's not expensive to get good sound, and actually it makes such a difference.
Yeah.
To add to that, I would say tripods. A few establishing shots that were opening the films or putting them in, location, context, or whatever, I could feel the lack of a tripod. And that's just another thing that's a giveaway of like an amateur film versus, some of them actually I could really feel did have tripods, but some I could tell, and it's just something that immediately elevates the feel of the film. Actually, if you have like a wide shot of a city and it's on a tripod, it just feels better. It feels more professional somehow.
Yeah. And that's not to say handheld isn't good. You just need to be really good cameraman to get good handheld. You need to be really, really good. Especially when you're shooting on a 5D, because 5D gives that little shaky cam kind of feel, which can look really, really bad. So they're big technical things that can immediately just earn heaps of points.
Again, I think that the rush to want to make a film, and it's so inspiring that you guys just kind of got out there and did it in a weekend. And I know that feeling. It's like you just want to be out there shooting stuff, and that I think the best films have always been well thought about before and worked out to a certain level. And I think it really came across when you were talking about the actual concepts and what had happened to them and how they had or hadn't come off, and B, the team dynamics. I think if there'd been 2-3 hours put aside to really drill down, what are we doing? What's our story? How will we shoot it? What's the shoot plan? What's the structure going to be in the edit? And who is doing what? I think it would have paid dividends for every team.
Who's doing what? Who's doing what?
The roles, because it's no coincidence that everyone had these problems in the edit in terms of people sort of fighting to the mouse, wanting to do that, because realistically in a professional context, even on the biggest productions, in the edit there's just the director and the editor. Then you get executive producers coming in for notes, that's a whole other world of pain. But it actually, and physically doing it, it's never any more than the director and the editor.
And this is quite interesting as well, because if you've got a good filmmaking team, a good director, hopefully who's done all the research and has got a really strong, solid, simplified and focused concept, then the film will reflect that. Unless you've got, and this shows, I think, in some of the films that we saw tonight, is when you've got lots of people trying to push a particular direction, that focus gets diluted. And in a professional sense, the exact same thing happens when you've got producers and exec producers that are all trying to throw in their 2 cents on, we think it should go this way, we think it should go that way, and a really strong, concise idea can get totally diluted and the film can lose vision and lose impact. Sometimes the concept isn't well thought about enough to begin with as well, so you're going to have massive problems when you get to the edit if that's the case. But that's why it is a collaborative process, but there needs to be one person driving it.
I can't remember which team it was, but I really liked the team who were like, we divided and conquered. Like one went out and logged the master interview, and the other went and got some GVs and B-roll for the editor. And I think that that's really smart, and that's how it works in the professional world. You may take different roles on different projects, and I know it's difficult with this because you might have 5 people who all want to be directors or who all want to be editors, but I think there's something in understanding that the process requires differentiation of roles. There are teams that have co-directors and producers, but it's rare, isn't it?
Yeah, and it requires a very particular type of dynamic, creative dynamic, and lack of ego.